young man that just wants to come in, and his technique that Tommy talked about, I think he'll be fine because he wants to absorb that information. And as I go back over to Boom, I think if I'd have played on this field, Chris, I might have had a few more catches, too.
I think I might have had a few more catches over there. Joe, do you think you could hit me on a square out on that field?
I think I could hit you on this one. Don't go much further than that, though. I got to be honest with you. That's about the limit of the arm
right now. I'm moving right now. I don't think I can go that much further than that. I'm about a 3rd and 4 guy. Send me out 2 steps, turn around, and fall down, maybe, to pick up that extra yard. The Giants now start a new group of names. And, Mel, now we got to get everybody familiar with the next group of names, although we understand that the Giants are talking about a name that will not rock the draft, but just maybe not a name that we'll see right here.
Well, we see some good football players. It's not the Elite Six. And remember last year, the Giants missed out on Jonathan Ogden, had to settle for Cedric Jones. So the second straight year, the Giants are just off the fringe of getting one of those elite players. We see Warwick Dunn. He's a 3rd down specialist, a creative football player, versatile, could fit in well with anybody. Marcellus Wiley's my sleeper, has been all year, coming on strong. You look at the rest of that group that's after that. Tarek Glenn was 354 during the season. Now he's 331. Ike Hilliard. This is a kid steadily moving up the draft board. Gives you tremendous ability after the reception. Bernard Wilson, we know that Bill Parcells really likes Bernard Wilson's intensity and great motor. So there's not that much difference in talent when you look at this group from the 7th player down to 18-25. There's not really that much separating those players. The Giants may think about moving down. You say, why not move down? Well, who wants to move up if all these players are the same? It takes 2 to have a deal, and the Giants may have to use this pick simply because there's so much equality. I mean, everybody from 7 to 25, 30 is basically a similar grade.
This is the start of a new era, Joe, with the Giants, with Jim Fossil, who has really been a quarterbacks all over the league. Love him when he's the offensive coordinator. Now he's head coach. He's vowed to make Dave Brown a big-time quarterback. You would think he would go out and get him some help, wouldn't you?
Well, look, I think there's only one thing you have to look at, and that's the right-hand column. This is the Giant offense. That's all 30s, folks. Those are not misprints. Total yards, passing yards, rushing TDs, thirds, and 12 of 1,000 plays for 25 yards or more. That's 0. I think the one area that you have to look at with Jim Fossil and his offensive coaches is they've got to get the ball down the football field, whether it be a 3rd down back coming out to help him or whether it's a guy who can stretch the field. That would be the area I think he'd be looking at.
All right, we're thinking offense. What are the Giants thinking? Let's go back up to the commissioner.
With the 7th pick in the 1st round, the New York Giants select Ike Hilliard, wide receiver from Florida. The New York Jets are now on the clock.
Let's say one thing about the Giants, and they've had some nice receivers. And they tried Lewis a couple of years ago, but really, since I think Del Schaffner, or all right, I'll give you Homer Jones in the 60s, they haven't had a deep threat. Is Hilliard the answer to a deep threat, Mel?
I'll tell you what Hilliard is. He comes from Steve Spurrier's offense. He's a guy that is tremendous in the open field after the catch. 29 touchdowns. He gets the ball in the end zone. His uncle is Dalton Hilliard, so you know this guy's got the good bloodlines. Watch him here. After he catches the football, that's the key. Look at the moves in the broken field. How creative he is after the catch. That's the key to Ike Hilliard. Throwing a 10-yard pass, he turns it. Watch this move right here. Now that's a football player. This kid can create so much. A 10-yarder can become a 30-yard touchdown. Here he is again. You see the hands, the ability in traffic, fade route. Very experienced at that at Florida. Again, against top competition. This is Deshae Townsend, a good cornerback. Look at that move. I mean, this is against good football players. He's leaving these guys in the shade, Joe. I mean, this guy is tremendous after the reception. The best wide receiver, along with Ray Caruth from Colorado, after they get the hands on the football.
He's not as fast as Caruth, but I think he runs with the football a little bit better. The other thing here, too, is George Young. 9 of the last 10 drafts have been offensive, and in the entire time that George Young is picked, he has not traded out of this pick. Everybody talked trade, just didn't happen. You look at the people. Cedric Jones is the only defensive guy. Wheatley, Lewis, Brown, Bunch, Hampton, Williams, Moore, Ingram, all offensive people. This is, I think, going to really help Jim Fossil out tremendously, Chris.
Production, Joe. 25 touchdowns by Hilliard the last 2 years, 34 in his collegiate career at Florida, certainly playing in a great pass system. He's not a burner per se, but some scouts liken him to Andre Reed. The way he gets the ball, moves over the middle. And if they can get Andre Reed out of this pick, I think the Giants will be very pleased.
I got to tell you something. When you're playing Giant Stadium, I think Giant Stadium is the toughest stadium in the National Football League to throw in. I think a lot of Dave Brown's problems had to do with the scheme that he was in and the weather that he plays in and the conditions. This kid here may not run down the field real fast, but he has the ability to make catches and make things happen. I think Dave Brown's going to be a much improved quarterback with his abilities this year, with his numbers, and Ike Hilliard is the kind of guy who can be a go-to receiver for the Giants. I think the Giant fans are finally going to have something to cheer about after 25 yards in a long time.
Well, it is the first time in a while. We certainly, our college crew, headed by Chris Fowler and company, have certainly enjoyed watching the Florida offense through the years. Let's go up to our Bristol, Connecticut studios with Chris and Jaws and the pick for the Giants and Jim Fossil on offense. Production, certainly not a question, guys.
Well, you mentioned Homer Jones, Boomer, the last all-pro wide receiver for the Giants 29 years ago. Recent receivers have played more like Homer Simpson. But Ike Hilliard becomes Mike Gottfried, the first receiver taken over Colorado's Ray Caruth, over Yatil Green, the guy with the great workout stats from Miami. Does he deserve to be the first receiver picked in your mind?
Well, I think he's a great receiver. I think, first of all, when you look at this receiver, he's a very aggressive receiver. He changes directions like you've seen on the film, and he's the clutch receiver for Florida's offense. Danny Werfel went to him in the clutch. He's a fade guy, a corner route guy. He's going to work well against man coverage. He's an excellent pick.
He is the first #1 pick on offense under Steve Spurrier at Florida. Emmitt Smith, the last Gator to be taken in the first round on offense. Amazingly, those 4 SEC titles, and Hilliard becomes the first #1 pick out of that. How does he fit into the Giants offense? Obviously, he gives them the impact player they wanted.
Chris, it's a great fit for the New York Giant offense, particularly under Jim Fossil. He's a guy that loves the timing and rhythm passing game. And a guy like Hilliard can stretch the defense, get the free safety out of center field, and create the vacancies underneath. And that's the real key. Howard Cross can now catch the ball underneath, Callaway underneath. I mean, Thomas Lewis, they've got the guys. I mean, it's a great pick for the Giants.
Now the Jets up, 6 juniors in the top 7 picks. What will the team from New York Jets do? Chris?
All right, guys, thank you. The Jets have made the pick, finally, after all their trades. I think this is the Jet home game.
8th pick in the first round, the New York Jets select James Farrior, linebacker, University of Virginia.
Well, Mel,
The Arizona
the Jets
Cardinals
have
are
taken
now
a
on the clock.
linebacker from Virginia. I think we've done this dance before, have we not?
I'll tell you, when you look at the New York Jets and you look at James Farrier's ability, a multi-dimensional outside linebacker, a guy that can cover, can do a job at the line of scrimmage, well coached by Rick Lance, during his career at Virginia, a guy that really can go sideline to sideline. When I liked him early in his career as a sophomore, he was 215 pounds. Now he's 240. You see a guy tremendously strong, 24, 26 reps. Like I said, Rick Lance coached both Farrior and Jamie Sharper and did a heck of a job. Watch him here, number 42. They turned him loose a lot more this year, let him get after the quarterback, but really sets him apart. Watch him in coverage here. It's how he senses things. Also shows very good hands for the interception. So when he gets the opportunity for a turnover, he converts. Watch him here again. Look at his ability. He moves quickly, locates the ball, no wasted motion. That's what you like about Farrior. Consistent productivity, traditional 4-3 outside linebacker. I thought he was a guy that could come right in and start at an outside linebacker position.
Well, first of all, you like him. He's a defensive player. You take the F out, you put the W in. He's warrior. So that's the first thing you like about him. Second, can we bury the misunderstanding here? Jeff Lageman was the guy I was talking about, who you liked as a player. Can we bury it? Mike Hickey, who called me the other day, and Mike, I owe you a call. You liked him as a ball player, and you like Farrior as a player.
I like what the Jets did.
Farrior, right?
They created an opportunity.
Yes.
They didn't take James Farrior where they were picking. They moved down twice and still got James Farrior. That's the difference. The Jets took Lageman where they were slotted. The Jets and Bill Parcells moved down twice. Now they have extra choices that they can turn in to good football players, especially for a Jet team that needs to solidify so many positions.
Let me tell you something quickly as we go to South Palo Antonio. I think the team on the clock next, Arizona, was looking at Farrior. Now they're scrambling in their war room right now. That's changed their philosophy. Bill Parcells, Sal's got to feel pretty good. Couple of moves, still get a heck of a performer on defense.
Right, and he got an extra 4th-round pick out of it. But the linebacker, Boomer, was really not a need area in defense for a defense that was ranked 30th in the league in touchdowns allowed last year. They did sign Pepper Johnson, a former Giant that was with Parcells in New York during those Super Bowl years, to play middle linebacker. They have Mo Lewis on the strong side, and Marvin Jones was moved to the weak side. We've heard from a number of teams that the Jets are trying to trade Marvin Jones. Now let's go back to New York.
Well, the last 2 seasons, Sal, Farrier has registered, doing some quick addition here, over 250 tackles.